皆さん、こんにちは。高巻です。今日はレッスン4をします。So, I'm going to explain grammar points in lesson 4. And these slides are available in the modules. So, lesson 4 has a lot of important grammar points. So make sure you look at the slides by yourselves to review after listening to this video. Also, I'm going to ask you to do some exercises in this video. So please pause the video, work on it a little bit yourself, and then listen to my explanations and also the answers to the things that I asked. All right, let's get started. So this is even before the grammar points, but on page 106, 106 page, we have a few locational words. And I believe that you already went over these, but let's go over these again. So the word right, 右. And what was the opposite? 左. So that will be left. And then we have in front, so just the word front is 前. And how about the back side was 後ろ. 後ろ. So we have 右, 左, 前, 後ろ. So they point to different directions, and you can explain where things might be. Moreover, we have, we learned the word inside, 中, 中. Also, we learned how to say on top of something or above something, 上, 上. If something is underneath or under something, 下, 下. Also, if something is not quite close, too close, but kind of nearby, then 近く. 近く is a word. If it's right next to it, 隣. 隣. And the last location word is in between A and B. So you need 2 reference points in order to use 間, because you want to say an object you're talking about is between 2 things, A and B. So you're going to use A, whatever that might be, and then the particle to, which I will explain, but to connects 2 nouns. Not adjectives or verbs, but just nouns. So names of things and places and people. And then you can say A and B, と B. And then we're going to use no, as in you are explaining what kind of between. So this will be how to say between A and B. と B の間. So for example, if you go to the right, then you will go to Tokyo. If you go to the left, it will be, you will get to Yokohama. So something like that. What word would you put in this blank? And how about number 2? What word would you put in number 2 sentence? So I would put, because this is on towards the right hand, so 右. 右は東京です. And then the opposite will be 左は横浜です. You can also say, talk about Tokyo, because this one, you're talking about the right direction. That's because the wa indicates the topic. So as for the right direction, it is Tokyo. And as for the left direction, it is Yokohama. But you can also say, Tokyo は右です. 横浜は左です. That's fine too. And there are things here. So if you are to complete this sentence, so hana are flowers. So can you explain where flowers are? You probably want to say it's on the table or the desk. Let's use the word desk, tsukue. So what you're going to do is you're going to say the reference first. Okay, it's tsukue, and then you are going to connect tsukue with the location word by using no. So it's going to look like this. Hana wa, sorry, and then this is supposed to be. Okay, so let's look at this picture and explain where things are. So let's talk about flowers. So we want to say flowers are on the desk. So the word desk, tsukue. So it's going to look like this. So we're going to say tsukue, the reference point first. And then we are following up with location word. So, hana wa tsukue no ue desu. So literal translation would be, as for flowers, it's, or they are, desk's top. So instead of saying on top of the desk, you're going to say tsukue no ue. It's desk's top. Because you can say ue, but then there are many kinds of ue. Is it on the table? Is it on the desk? Is it on the chair? Okay, so you're specifying ue using tsukue no. So it's desk's top. So this will be the pattern when you use location words. So you can also think that it's the word order is reversed from English. You will say on the desk. You say on first. But in Japanese, we say desk first. Tsukue no ue desu. All right. Follow the same pattern. How would you say where the bag is? So the bag is under the desk. So what word would you put it here? Follow this pattern. So if you do that, you're going to say, oh, okay, I need to say tsukue first. Tsukue no. And flowers on top, but the bag is underneath. So do you remember the word under? And that will go here. So that will be tsukue no shita desu. And you can just use the word desu for now. So you can say the bag is under the desk. Same thing, but let's explain where the book is. So the book is inside of the bag. So now, would you use tsukue or something else? Okay. Now, you don't need tsukue to explain where the book is. You need the bag because you want to say it's inside the bag. So the bag here is this word right here. Kaban no, and then naka desu. Then how about chairs or just one chair? So chair, you can say next to it, you can say it's to the right of the desk, or it's close by. So there are different, there are a couple of different answers you can make, but in any case, you're using desk, tsukue as a reference. So you're gonna put tsukue here, and I wrote tsukue no chikaku desu, near the desk. But you can also say tsukue no tonari desu, next to it. Or you can say to the right of the desk. 机の右です. These are, I think, all good. But the point here is you're going to say the reference or landmark of sort first, connect that with no, and then you would use these location words. So you're saying desks near, bags inside, desks under, and desks top, kind of like that. And it's an awkward English translation, but that's what the literal translation is. All right, so let's go over the locational words again. So look at these arrows and the numbers inside, and what kind of locational word would you use? And when you use the word, you want to say on the table, under the table, to the right of the table, things like that. So table, that's for table. Table will come at the beginning. Table no, and then location word. So you can pause the video and think about what word would you put in for number 1. So it's right here. Number 2, it's here. And number 3, 4 on either side. And number 5, it's not right next to it, but near it. And imagine you are looking at the table this way, like this woman is. Okay. So right is this direction. Left is this direction. Okay, so number 1 will be on the table. So that will be テーブルの上. 2番、テーブルの下. 3番はテーブルの左. It's to the left. 4番はテーブルの右. And then 3 and 4 you can say next to it. So テーブルの隣 would work. You could say right next to it or left next. So you can actually say 右隣 or 左隣. One thing that you have to be careful here is to will change to do tenten. So that's the only thing that you have to be careful about. And 5番、テーブルの近く. So you're going to say the reference first, テーブルの, it's tables nearby, tables next, and so forth. So there's a question here. 花はどこですか? 花はどこですか? So we're asking, where are the flowers? And again, if you have to say right or left, okay, we're looking at things from where the woman is standing. So right, left. And so how would you explain where flowers are? You probably want to say flowers are on the table. 花はテーブルの上です. So the sentence structure here is X は Y です. Just like we've been doing, something like これはペンです. This thing over here is a pen. It's the same structure, but this Y part right here, it's a little bit long because we need 3 words, テーブルの上, to explain where flowers are. So you can also think as topic, what, and then the reference, テーブル. We need no here because you want to say tables, and location word, and then this. All right, so what do we want to talk about next? Yeah, that'll be 犬. So 犬は, yeah, and then also we're going to talk about 猫. But I want you to use hana as a reference. So where's the cat? Okay, so she's there. So use flowers as a reference. And then we want to talk about kaban. So where is the bag? It's over here. And you can just say on top because we're using table. But also let's use hana, flowers, for the reference in order to explain where the bag is. Then I think the what's gonna follow will change a little bit. And then hana wa, we're going back to explaining where flowers are, but we have these two items, cat and the bag. So you can use a special word that you're gonna need two references. Okay, so again, you can stop, pause the video, and try to complete the sentences and tell me where these animals or things are. Okay, so I hope you have some sentences. So this will be inu wa, and we have to use a table. So teburu no, and he's underneath. So shita. Inu wa teburu no shita desu. That will be the answer. And then for a cat, neko wa hana no, so it's to the right, so migi. Neko wa hana no migi desu. And the bag, kaban wa teburu no ue desu. But if we're using hana, flowers, as a reference, kaban wa hana no hidari desu. Hidari desu. And flowers using kaban and neko as references. Hana wa kaban to neko no aida desu. Hana wa kaban to neko no aida desu. So let's use another prompt, pictures, in order to practice where people are. So we're going to, again, imagine we're looking at this photo from this woman's perspective. So right is her right, left is her left. But we're not in a picture. We're looking at the picture from outside. So can you explain where Suzuki-san is using the location word migi? If you do that, Suzuki-san wa Yamada-san no migi desu. It's Yamada's right. Yamada's right. Yamada-san no migi desu. Okay. Once again, let's talk about Suzuki-san, but let's use Tanaka-san as a reference. Then that will be Suzuki-san wa Tanaka-san no hidari desu. It's Tanaka's left. Tanaka-san no hidari desu. Okay, let's explain Tanaka-san using Sato-san as a reference. Tanaka-san wa Sato-san no mae desu. It's Sato's front. That's how we would say in front of Sato-san. So Tanaka-san wa Sato-san no mae desu. So we're talking about Tanaka-san, where she is in the relation to Sato-san. Okay, let's talk about Sato-san, and let's use Tanaka-san as a reference. Sato-san wa, that's the topic. Tanaka-san no, so he's her behind. So Sato-san wa Tanaka-san no ushiro desu. Ushiro desu. And you can try explaining where people are. Okay, more. So so wa is a topic. So sentences like this. Okay, number 1, 1番. Yamada no tonari wa. So Yamada no tonari. Okay, there's no one else here, so you have to look at this. So Yamada no tonari. So the person who's next to Yamada, that's what this the topic of number one sentence. So it's gonna be Suzuki-san desu. 2番、山田さんは、then we only know this person's name. So 鈴木さんの左です。山田さんは鈴木さんの左です。3番、佐藤さんの前。So the whole thing is a topic. So I want to talk about someone who is in front of 佐藤さん。佐藤さんの前は、okay, we know her name, 田中さんです。佐藤さんの前は田中さんです。Or if we're going to talk about 田中さん、田中さんは、there are a couple of different sentences you can make. 鈴木さんの右です。鈴木さんの右です。or 佐藤さんの前です。as we made before. So grammar number one, so all these slides before this were actually part of the vocabulary, but what we discussed here has a lot to do with what we're going to learn as grammar points. So I hope you understand pretty well about locational words and how to use them. All right, so number one point in grammar is something exists. And that something can be either something that doesn't move, okay, inanimate object, that's going to be aru dictionary form, or arimasu for mass form. And if you're talking about animate object, you know, something that moves by itself, like people, animals, then imasu, iru is a dictionary form, imasu is exist. So they both mean exist, but you have to change the verb depending on you are talking about something that doesn't move or something or someone that moves. So if you want to say there's a test tomorrow, then we can say tomorrow the test exists. So would you use arimasu or imasu for the test? Test doesn't move by itself, so we're going to use arimasu. And when you want to say what exists, we're going to indicate that object as, or it's actually a subject of arimasu. We use ga. So arimasu or aru, something exists. So if we say testo ga arimasu, testo ga arimasu, then there's a test. And that's how we would say we have a test tomorrow. So Dory might say, 明日テストがありますよ. It's a test. And if we're talking about university students, they move by themselves. So we're going to use imasu as a verb. So someone or some animals or something that move by itself, we use imasu. So how would you say university students? 大学生. So we can say 大学生がいます. She's saying 学生, so just students. Okay. But in any case, you're going to use います. And let's talk a little bit more about phrase particle が. So が indicates specific action taker of the verb. Okay, so whoever doing the action, we're going to indicate with が. And just like any other phrase particle, you have to say what first and then follow it with が. So if you say 先生がいます, then the teacher exists. It just means they're the teacher. Maybe there are teachers. We don't know how many, but this indicates teacher is an exister, if you will. So literal translation would be, it's the teacher who exists. They're the teacher. And you can say sensei wa imasu. Then it slightly changes the nuance. It sounds like there are other professionals exist in the room, but I'm just talking about, my topic is the teachers. So that would be the difference. But the fact remains that they're the teacher. Or you can say, 学生が食べます。学生が食べます。So no one eats student. It's the student who eats. We don't know what. And in Japanese, you don't have to say what all the time, right? It sounds a little bit strange in English to say the student eats. I want to say, well, eat what? But in Japanese, this is a very natural sentence. I'm just talking about who does what. Or, メアリーさんが読みます。So, メアリーさん is a reader. We don't know what she's reading or what she reads. Maybe newspaper, maybe a book. But you don't have to say that if you don't want to in Japanese. But here, by indicating ga, Mary is the one who does this verb, this action. 読みます。私が帰ります。私が帰ります。So it's me who's returning. We don't know where you're returning, or we can't know where this person is returning to, but again, that's okay. It's me who returns. I return somewhere. So I am the returner. So that's what ga indicates. Ga indicates action doer. So many times, especially in conversations, you can skip most of particles, if not all of them, as long as the context is clear that who does what. But something like this, A can be possible, right? B can be possible. So in this case, it's probably better to make a sentence or make two sentences using ga and o. Remember, o indicates the object, what you eat, not who, but what you eat or what you read, what you have, and so forth. So there's a person, right? So hito, and there's a lion. Lion is the same in Japanese. Lion, lion. So you can you try to make a sentence to describe this picture A? So the lion eats a person. And how about picture B? A person eats lion's meat. So again, you can pause and think about sentences that you can make to describe these two pictures. Okay, so picture A, lion. Lion is an eater, so he is action taker. So we're going to say lion ga, and then person is the one that gets to be eaten. So hito o, and the action is tabemasu, tabemasu. So B, it's a person who eats. So hito ga, and let's just imagine this is a lion meat. There's a little lion there. Lion o tabemasu. So, ライオンが人を食べます。You can also flip o first. 人をライオンが食べます。That's okay too. As long as you have the verb at the end. And for B, ライオンを人が食べます。or 人がライオンを食べます。So if I don't say any particles, like 人、ライオン、食べます. right? Without two particles, I don't know which picture I am explaining, okay? It's a little bit unclear. So to make it clear, you can use particles. And another usage of it's an old particle, but I'm giving a new usage. So ni, remember, if you remember in previous lessons, we use ni when you go to, like movement somewhere. Also, if we use the word time word, then it became at 1 o'clock or on Sunday. So those are the two usage of ni. So the third usage of ni is when you use ni with arimasu and imasu, which both mean exist, then that indicates that ni, the phrase before ni indicates a place where something or someone exists. So if you say, 公園, this looks like a park, 公園にいます, then someone is in the park. 公園にあります, then something exists in the park. So, in the past, if you are drinking coffee at a cafe, we say カフェで, カフェで. But in this case, for います、あります, you can't say 公園でいます、公園にいます. We can understand you, but the correct particle will be に. 公園にいます. We don't know who is there, but someone. 公園にあります. Again, I don't know who, I don't know what, but it exists. So maybe you can say like a bench. Bench is bench. 公園にベンチがあります. So you can add different phrases here, but this is the minimal expression with, okay, something exists in the park. All right, so the same thing. So we could say something like カフェにメアリーさんがいます. So why do we use ni? Because there's imas. Okay, so she exists. Mary-san exists in the cafe. It just means Mary is at the cafe. But since we're using imas, we're using cafe ni. Okay, they indicate where action takes place also. So if you're talking about like nomimasu, the drinking, then we're going to use カフェでメアリーさんがお茶を飲みます. Very similar sentences, but the difference is, are we using います, existing, or we're using some other verbs like 飲みます. Right? So at the cafe. So in English, it's the same, but in Japanese, you have to use different particles depending on the verbs that you use. All right, so describing things, going back. So we actually did this when we learned the location words, but the sentence structure is, okay, X is a topic, and then Y is a reference, and then you are using location word, such as migi. So using コーヒー、お茶, how would you describe these two things? We can say something like お茶はコーヒーの左です. It's to this way, left. Or we can say コーヒーはお茶の右です. It's T is right. T is right. Okay, so there's a kitty inside the bag. So she's asking, 私はどこにいますか? Where do I exist? Where am I? So can you make a sentence? a cat is in the bag. Let's use ni for a place. Ga, let's use ga for object. And then the thing that we're talking about. And then do we use arimasu or imasu for a cat? So how would you make a sentence? The cat exists in the bag. So I would use imasu. So that would be カバンの中に so that inside the bag カバンの中に猫がいます。So that would be the cat exists in the bag. The cat is in the bag. カバンの中に猫がいます。Or you can say who exists 猫がカバンの中にいます。That would be fine too. Remember the word order in Japanese is very flexible as long as you're using this place and neat, this in yellow together. Don't separate them. They're in a beach ball, so they're together. Or object and ga, object and wa. As long as they're together, you can use you can flip the word order for these two. And typically, not always, but typically we use verbs or des sentences at the end. All right, so familiar picture. So, 花はどこですか? So we learned 花はテーブルの上です. So this was just followed by des, but now we learned how to use あります, います. So we can make this sentence a little bit more complicated by using あります or います. Like this. 花はテーブルの上に remember, ni indicates a location when we use that with あります。花はテーブルの上にあります。So, 犬は we said before, テーブルの下です。テーブルの下です。Okay, can we say that with います。犬はテーブルの下にいます。Okay, how about カバン? Can we say where bags are in two different ways? One is using des, the other one is using あります. So pause the video and can you complete the sentence for number 5 and 6? And let's go back to 3. So 犬はテーブルの下です. The dog is under the table. We learned how to say this one earlier. And the new one is 犬はテーブルの下に. And we need a verb. Is that あります or います? Okay. These are, this is the dog, so he would move. So we are going to use います. So this one will be カバンはテーブルの上です. And then if I use the verb あります。カバンはテーブルの上に don't forget に because we need に to indicate the location. テーブルの上にあります。All right, so this is just a review to compare. So this is just after you say where things are, テーブルの下. And you can just follow this with this. It's like it is or they are. They're on the table. All right, so like this. They're all end with this. So this will be 犬はテーブルの下にいます。猫は花の右にいます。にいます。カバンはテーブルの上にあります。カバンは花の左にあります。 So these are the new sentences using あります and います。花はカバンと猫の間にあります。花はカバンと猫の間にあります。And number two, this is just to go over new location word. So you can take a moment to see if you can come up with either say it or write it. And then after that, you can check if you got them right. And we already did this, but this kind of shows how English and Japanese, the word orders are different. So, 銀行は図書館の隣です。If we take this sentence as an example sentence, then the bank is next to the library. But as we saw before, 隣 comes after the 図書館. So it's 図書館の隣. We say the library is next. So that's how we would make the sentence. Same thing. 傘はテーブルの下です. It's tables underneath. So I hope this makes sense when when they're compared like this. Okay, so the cat is asking us, 私はどこにいますか? So how would you describe where the cat is? 猫は Okay, and you can think about how to follow that subject. Also, you can talk about where the books are, where the dog is, and also where the fish is. Fish is in the water. So for the cat, 猫は机の上にいます。本は猫の右にあります。It's to the right of the cat. 犬はテーブル、well, we use the word desk. So, 机の下にいます。Make sure it's います。And then here, 何がありますか? So, 魚が、it's actually います because it's alive. 魚が水の中にいます。So the fish exist in the water. 水の中にいます。So we can tell where things are, but also what you might do at a certain location. Like if she or he's waiting, I am waiting for Takeshi here in front of the restaurant, then you can say something like, レストランの前でたけしさんを待ちます. This is kanji for ma. I'll change it to hiragana later, but レストランの前で, so this one, we're not using います or あります. So you can use で in front of the restaurant. That's where you are going to wait. たけしさんを待ちます. All right, and practice 2A, it's on page 117. You are going to say where these places are: post office, cafe, bus stop, and so forth. So this will be the assignment to record, but it's also, you can use this slide, but also it's on page 117 in the book. And just to help you out with the buildings, make sure that you know where these buildings are. Also, there's practice 2B on the same page. So where are jeans, cat, hat, look at these things. And so if you can explain where each item is, that would be a great practice. And I wrote for the picture just before this, I wrote out the answer as well. So after you work on it, you can also check your answers with this slide as well. And grammar point number 3 is a past tense of this. So past tense is also called perfective because it's already finished. So we learned it is something or they are something right now. Des, so pen des. It is a pen. We also learned when something is not. Pen じゃないです or ペンじゃありません. So now we're going to learn it was something. ペンでした. ペンでした. So it was a pen, but maybe it's something else now. Also, it was not something. So again, we have two forms. ペンじゃなかったです or ペンじゃありませんでした. So now you recognize here ありません, right? So it's this literal translation is it's not pen doesn't exist, but I guess it's like a penness is not there. So it's not a pen. So this is different from ペンがありません. Right. So if you can just memorize this as a noun sentence negative, I think it'll be helpful. It's not a pen. ペンじゃありません. There's a じゃ here. Same thing with the past. ペンじゃなかったです. ペンじゃありませんでした. So how would you use that? We could say something like 朝ごはんは毎日パンです. As for breakfast, every day, it's pan, it's bread, meaning I eat bread every day. So that's this, right? Because it's a habit or it happens present tense. But if you want to say about yesterday's breakfast, 昨日の朝ごはんはパン, then it was, right? It was bread. I ate bread. 昨日の朝ごはんはパンでした. So that's how you can use でした. When something already happened, it was something else, then you can use でした. あれは日本のドラマじゃなかったです. So じゃなかったですね. Wasn't. So it wasn't a Japanese drama. Okay. I already maybe watched this drama already. So I'm talking about this in the past. Okay. In the past sentence, past tense. あれは日本のドラマじゃなかったです. It was not, that was not Japanese drama. Well, what was it then? 韓国のドラマでしたよ. 韓国のドラマでしたよ. So it was Korean drama. Of course, it still is. It still is. But I'm talking about my past experience of watching this drama. So I can say that in the past tense. All right, so that was a mass form, past tense, affirmative and negative. Now let's move on to the verb sentences of past tense, affirmative and negative. So we already know mas, as in 食べます. You eat or you will eat, 食べます. If you don't, 食べません. 食べません. But new part here is I did. So I ate. 食べました. So 食べ part doesn't change. It's 食べ, that's the stem. 食べます. 食べません. 食べました. And if you didn't eat, 食べませんでした. So we're adding でした to ません. 食べませんでした. I didn't go somewhere. I didn't do something. So, ました and ませんでした are new. So if we are using 行きます to go as an example, 行きます、行きません、行きました、行きませんでした. So that's how it changes. So 行き part does it tells me, oh, it's something about going, and this ます、ません、ました、ませんでした. They tell me whether it's a negative, affirmative, or when it happens, or when it happened. All right, so change the following verbs in 3 other ways. So there was 4 boxes. I'll give you 1. So can you change to 3 other ways? So 行きます to go, 行きません. How about you went? 行きました. And then you didn't go, 行きませんでした. And so forth. So if you can do this, I'll show you all the verbs. Then, and if you can change to, these are all must forms. So can you change it to the other 3 ways? If you're not sure, you can look at the previous, this or this chart, and then try to change it. Right? So, 2番, number 2, 食べます、食べません、食べました、食べませんでした. So you really have to have those ending memorized. So you can change, you just need the stem like ne, and then change the must part very easily. If you're not sure about how this must part changes, it'll be very difficult. For example, during the speaking test, or if you're talking to a Japanese person in for real, then it will be a little bit difficult to change tenses and then affirmative to negative. So please memorize them really well. So number 3, 寝ます to sleep, 寝ません、寝ました、寝ませんでした. Okay, 4番, 会います、会いません、会いました、会いませんでした. So this was to meet. Number 5, 5番, to wait, 待ちます、待ちません、待ちました、待ちませんでした. 6番, exist some things, あります、ありません、ありました、ありませんでした. And something, someone or animals exist, います、いません、いました、いませんでした. So I hope you can practice and you feel very comfortable changing mas to different parts, different boxes. All right, and when we use a verb in a sentence, you do not have to have an object or any other word in a sentence. I could just say, 行きます, I go. And you want to ask, like, where, when, with whom? But I don't have to say it. It's in English, that's a fine, it's in a good sentence, 行きます. If I want you to know where I'm going, I will tell you. Or 食べました、食べました. So I ate. You can ask me, 何を食べましたか? Of course. But in English, if you say I ate, it sounds like I'm missing some information. But in Japanese, it's fine. It's okay. We don't need to have an object. しません. Yeah, maybe I play sports, or I don't play sports, or I don't do something. You don't know what, but this is an okay sentence. This is a correct sentence. Whereas if you say, like, I have in English, that sounds very awkward, doesn't it? I have what? You have a pen? But in Japanese, you can just have one verb sentence. Okay, so どこへ行きますか? 学校へ行きます. Okay, so if it's どこへ行きますか was this, okay, where do you go? Then with 食べましたか what kind of a question word would you use? Okay, I would use something like 何を食べましたか What did you eat? Okay, here, okay. しませんか So this is an invitation, so maybe something like テニスをしませんか Okay, so here it talks about, okay, you can just have one verb sentence or you can add something else, but you don't have to have all the parts. So number 5, it's about mo, which previously we learned as also. So we can say, これはペンです。あれもペンです。So this one is a pen. That one also is a pen. So you can do that. Here in lesson 4, the new usage of mo is you can use it with de, like place, mo together, and demo. Or if you're going somewhere, but you're going to 2 places, then you can say emo or ni mo, and in a second sentence, and you can say I also go somewhere. For example, okay, this is just a single mo. これは傘です。あれも傘です。So this one is an umbrella, that one is an umbrella also. We can also use mo with de, e, and ni as demo, emo, ni mo. So it's like this. うちでコーヒーを飲みます。So at home, I drink coffee. カフェでもコーヒーを飲みます。I also drink coffee at a cafe. So not just at home, but also in the cafe. So when you want to say that, these 2 sentences kind of link it together, then カフェでもコーヒーを飲みます。So you don't have to say it this way, but when you can link more information related to the previous sentence, it's more of a cluster, your thought is more complete, coherent, so that, we're building our sentences up from the basic one to more complicated one. And ni shows movement and also indicates time and indicate where things are with arimasu and imasu. So we do that. This one is 2. 銀行に行きました。郵便局にも行きました。So which 2 places did you go? I went to the bank. I also went to the post office. So when you want to say 2 places, both of them you went, then you can say 郵便局にも行きました。7時にご飯を食べます。12時にも食べます。So you eat twice at 7 as well as 12. So if you want to say it that way, then you can use 12時にも食べます。All right. Another expression that we're learning in lesson 4 is a duration of 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. So if you remember, G ending is o'clock, right? 今1時です。It's 1 o'clock now. But if you add kan to G, then it becomes a duration. All right? So クラスは1時間です。So in this case, the class is for 1 hour. It's not at 1 o'clock, right? So there's a difference between G, which is o'clock, 時間, then you're talking about a duration of time. So if you want to ask what time it is now, 何時ですか? But if you want to ask, how many hours is it? Maybe the class or maybe the movie. 何時間ですか? 何時間ですか? Then you're asking how many hours is some kind of activity might be. And ぐらい is about, so you can use that after duration. 8時間ぐらい寝ました。寝ます was to sleep, so you slept about 8 hours. バスを2時間半待ちました。So if you want to say 2.5 or 3.5 hours, then you are going to say 2 hours and then the word 半, which is half. 2時間半待ちました。And the last word, last point of the grammar in lesson 4 is たくさん. It means a lot. So place たくさん right before the noun or after the particle, such as お. So if you want to say, I took many photos, then you can use たくさん after お. 写真をたくさん撮りました. You took many photos. Or you can say たくさん写真を right before a noun 撮りました. Both are fine. Or something like this. 野菜が after が it's a particle. You can use たくさん. Okay. 野菜がたくさんあります. There are many vegetables. Maybe at a farmer's market. Or you can say たくさん. You can put たくさん before noun 野菜. たくさん野菜があります。And と indicates, as we saw in A と B の間, in between, you can connect two nouns, just nouns, not verbs. So you cannot say, for example, 食べますと飲みます. In order to say, if you want to say eat and drink, we have to learn another form. So it had to be nouns. ペンと本. Pen and book. Also, to can mean together with. So if you don't see another noun after と, it's probably together with. So for example, 日本語と英語を話します. So these two, 日本語、英語, these two are the languages that you speak. Okay? I speak Japanese and English. So you are connecting 日本語 and 英語 together. It's and. But this one, メアリーさんはソラさんと韓国に行きます. So it's not ソラさん, Sora and Korea, but Mary is going to Korea together with Sora. Yeah. So you can look at the rest of the sentence and then figure out whether it's the connecting two nouns or it means together with. So メアリーさんはソラさんと韓国に行きます. So in this case, it's she's going with Sora to Korea. So that's the sentence. All right. So there were many, many points, and some of them are very difficult, just because it's very different from English. So please review the slides, and then also, if you have questions, please ask. But I hope this will help you understand the grammar points in lesson 4. お疲れ様でした。